All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on quizzing. We're thrilled to have Lori join us again. If any of you joined the labs webinar last week, you'll know that Lori is our queen of courseware. So she is definitely the one to ask all of your good questions to. Lori will pause periodically. If you have questions, please just type them into the chat or the Q&A, and I'll be monitoring those for Lori when we get started. And then if you want to speak, you can raise your hand, and then I can unmute you. Because we're in webinar feature, everyone is automatically muted until we unmute you. So you do need to raise your hand like you're in school. Okay, on that note, I will go ahead and let Lori take over.
Thank you. Thanks, Kara. Hi, everybody. So what we're going to do today is do a pretty deep dive into the quizzing features of courseware. And I'm going to pause, as Kara mentioned, every so often to take questions, but I wanted to give you a brief overview of what we're going to cover today. So I'm going to start by showing you what each quiz type looks like. So you can see just the student experience first. When I say dissection quiz, what is that? What does it look like? I'm going to go through the 3 types of quizzes that we have. And then I'm going to walk through some steps about how you assign a quiz. We want to make sure you're aware of all the pre-made quizzes that we have available in Visible Bodies courseware. And then I want to show you how you can edit our pre-made quizzes to add your own questions, take some questions away. And then I want to show you how you can build your own quiz from scratch. So we're going to do all kinds of things and should do a lot of show and tell, and excited for your questions. But I just wanted to, kind of let you know where we're going today. So we're going to cover a lot of bases. We're also going to look at the gradebook and show you what some of the features are that we have available for the gradebook. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will get started. All right, so can everybody see my screen okay? Kara, are you seeing that?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So I wanted to let you know that you're seeing my student account. So we have a lot of pre-made courses in courseware that I think you're aware, and we have a lot of different assignments and quizzes that you can, customize as you want and put in due dates and publish them as you want. So what we're going to do for this scenario, so I can show you the quizzes, is we're going to say that you are using our A&P Lab Assessments course and that you have published the respiratory system chapter. So you have assigned some exercises on these topics which have directions and learning objectives and point to visible body content. Respiratory system unit, and then what you've done is assigned some quizzes. So I want to show you what each type of quiz is. So this example I'm going to jump into right now is the dissection quiz, and this is one that's a pre-made one, and we're going to go into this a little later and add more questions to it to show you how you can edit and customize a quiz. But I just wanted to give you an overview of this is what a dissection quiz is. And we're going to go through all the different parameters of due dates and release dates and points and all that as we go. But again, this is just baseline. When I say we're going to show you dissection quiz, this is what it is. So you can see here the name of the quiz here, how many questions the student has, and this is the prompt. And this is a 3D model, which I know now you're used to, and you've been in Visible Body and know that you can use these visibility buttons on the side to hide and fade structures. Select them and hide to get a closer look. You can double click to zoom in. You can use your trackpad or mouse to zoom out. You can rotate. You use your space bar to pan the model up and down also. Okay, so the right or left tertiary bronchi. I'm going to get some of these wrong just on purpose so I can show you how the feedback works. That one was an easy one. This one also an easy one. I want to show you that we have the lungs faded so you can see everything inside, but the student can click on the lung and say show, and then that makes it a solid thing. And then you can maybe see the middle lobe a little better. Select the right or left primary cartilaginous rings. Okay, so I'm going to just get, as I mentioned, some wrong so I can show you. The oblique fissure, again, in this particular view, you might want to show a solid lung so they can find that fissure a little easier. Select any part of the trachea. Again, obviously, I know this is wrong. For demo purposes, we'll do it. The right or left superior secondary bronchi. I'll do that, and then select any part of the pulmonary trunk. I'll get one right. All right, so every student will see this. So 71%, you got 5 out of 7 questions correct. And you're gonna see the details. And so the student's gonna tap on this, and you will have set up that the student can see, actually with a dissection question, they can see feedback at the end, everybody can, and you'll see what that looks like. So they see what they got right. And then they can see, nope, you picked the wrong thing for that. And nope, you picked the wrong thing for that. So that's what a dissection quiz looks like for the student. And they're going to be able to see, when we look at the gradebook later, I'll show you how you can see this information and they can see this information. The next quiz I want to show you is if we go back into this assignment, and I'm a student and I'm going to take this multiple choice quiz. Now I wanted to show you, I turned on a few features. Again, we're going to go back and see how you do it, but this is a timed quiz. So you can see what it looks like when you set the quiz to be timed. And I also set it to show feedback after each question. So again, we'll look at how to do this, but I wanted to show you the student experience of what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to launch the quiz, and the student will see that it's timed here also. So I've got 6 minutes to take this quiz. And this is a multiple choice, and this is pretty much exactly what you'd expect, and you can see the counter running here. Okay, so I'll get a few of these right and a few of these wrong so you can see the feedback. You get the correct answer feedback if you want on multiple choice. Okay, so all of the following are lower respiratory structures except. Okay, so we'll go through here and you'll see I got it right. So this is again set to have feedback after each question. The trachea, okay, so it extends from the lower part of the what to the upper border of the what. And so I'll just pick one and you'll see that I got it wrong. And I'll get the option to try again or show the answer. So I'm gonna try again. We'll select this one. Nope, I didn't get it. I can try again. Yes, I finally got it right. And when you choose this option, it'll show up as correct, that the student did finally get it correct. Okay, this one, nice and easy. We know there's a ton of those. Where does gas exchange occur? Okay, and I'm gonna get one wrong because I want to show you what happens when you exhaust all your options. So I'm gonna get that wrong, I'm gonna get it wrong again, I'm gonna try again, I'm gonna get it wrong again. Okay, so you can just go to the next question or show the answer. So that's what that looks like for the student, okay? And then we'll get this in a minute. Okay, so now this is a detailed quiz result again. So this was set to report percentage. You got 5 out of 6. Here are your details. So you'll see all the ones that I got correct. Show me the correct answer. You'll see this one I just got plain wrong. I exhausted my attempts, so this one counts as wrong. But you'll get that there was one that I guessed and guessed and guessed and finally got it right. Fine, so it counts as right. So just wanted to show you how that works. Okay, and then the last question type we have is a short answer question. And this one is the only quiz type we have that's manually graded. So these two were auto graded, as you saw. Short answer is manually graded by the professor. I'm gonna go for grading, how you grade it and how you submit it and that the student sees, okay? So this is really, I'm gonna make up the answers just in the, in the time that we have. This is a quiz on hemoglobin, and I think there's just 2 questions here. So this is what it looks like to the student, okay? So I'm just gonna say this is my best answer. They will give you a very good answer, I'm sure. Submit it. And this is my worst answer. Okay, just for the sake of the practice, this is what it goes. Okay, so this is what the student now will see. Your quiz has been submitted to be graded by your professor, and click see details to review your responses. So they can see what they did, but they're gonna have to wait until you grade it to see, you know, what you think of what they did. Okay, so before we move on to look at the instructor side and look at the quiz bank, are there any questions? Again, please keep in mind that I'm going to show you how to make quizzes and edit quizzes and go through the whole path of the short answer. But Kara, do we have any immediate questions right now before I kind of shift gears?
We don't have any right now, but let's give it a minute in case
Okay.
people are typing or.
No problem. And again, I'm hoping that I answer a lot of your questions as I go. Just real quick before we get to the quiz bank, I want to show you, this is the instructor version of the course. This is this A&P Lab Assessments course that we have. And you saw me in my student account. You saw that I was showing the respiratory system. These are all the things that are published for the student, and that's why I saw them in my student account. You can see that the digestive system is still unpublished. Nobody's seen that yet. So this is all the things that I have in my instructor version of the course. Okay, and this whole course, just so you know, is pre-built for you. We have a ton of pre-made courses, and they all have activities and quizzes in them already. So just to let you know, when you're in Visible Body and you're here on the pre-made courses page, this is going to take you to a listing on our website of all the pre-made courses that we have. So I just wanted to let you know that you can definitely take a look at those.
Lori, we had one comment, and I think you might have just typed the short answer question in there, but the comment was efficiency was misspelled in question 2 of your short answer quiz. You might have just put that together today, so.
Oh, thank you. I'll definitely take a look. I did. Thank you so much. All right, so what we're gonna do is I want to show you how to use the quiz and the question bank. And I want to start simple and then get more and more involved as we go. And really all of it is simple. It's just simply, you know, I think it'll help for you to see. So I'm here in the quiz bank. Okay, you see on my left-hand side, I was in my courses before. Here are the quiz and question bank. So I wanted to show you, let's start with how you assign a pre-made quiz right off the shelf. So this is something we're gonna look in the Visible Body quiz bank. We're going to see a quiz, we're gonna love it, and we're gonna assign it. So we're gonna start really basic. So I wanna just go through these filters at the top. So I'm gonna choose Visible Body quizzes. You will see a bunch of names here. These are all, so Visible Body, I've made, you know, we've made a school. These are all Visible Body employees, all these names that you see. So at your school, you will see your name. So here's my name. You'll see your name, and you'll see any other instructors who are using Visible Body, and everybody's quiz questions at your school, just like at my school, I get to see everybody's stuff. The Atlas quizzes that are in the quiz bank, what we've done, if you're familiar with Human Anatomy Atlas, we took all the quizzes, all the practice quizzes from that app and put them in here so they can be graded also. So let's look at the Visible Body quiz bank today, okay? So the goal, I think, again, is we're gonna find a quiz we love, and I'm gonna go through how to assign it. So I think what we're gonna do, just in the example I'm gonna show is, say you're on the skeletal system and you're on the axial skeleton and you want to assign a dissection quiz. So you want students to identify and find bones using our 3D model set. So you're going to filter by question type dissection. Okay. And then you're going to come over here and you're going to pick skeletal system. Okay, and then after skeletal system is chosen, you're gonna come to the subtopics and you're gonna see all the different categories. And we're gonna just continue to narrow it down by choosing axial skeleton. So you're gonna see there are 13 quizzes that meet these criteria. And you're gonna see as you come down here that a lot of these are landmark quizzes. Let's look at this axial skeleton dissection quiz. That sounds good. So the scenario today is, let's look at these questions. We're gonna love them and assign them. So I want to show you that I've selected it here on the left. I see the questions and the 2D images of the model here, and I'm just going to scroll down and I can see all the 10 questions here. So I'm going to look here and say, I love them. You can also preview the quiz, and when you do that, you get to see what it looks like for the student in 3D. So if I click preview quiz, it's going to open up the quiz app, and this is how you can, and this is, I'm in my instructor account, so it's not going to count or anything like that, but this is how you can actually go through yourself and see the quiz. There is that preview function for that reason. Okay, so let's say that I love I love this quiz. This axial skeleton dissection quiz is great. To this lab assessments course I was in, and I'm going to go to axial skeleton, and I'm going to go ahead and assign this quiz. Okay, so I'm going to create a new assignment. And you can see, actually, I already have it in this folder because it was already pre-built in this course. So let's put it in the skeletal system overview folder. That'll be a good one. So we're going to create a new assignment. And what we're going to do is choose where we go. Well, we want to go to the graded quiz bank to choose that quiz. Okay, so here I am, and I'm just going to filter this because I kind of went shopping in the quiz bank. I knew what I liked. And now I'm going to pick it from here and make my assignment. So here they all are. And here's my axial skeleton dissection quiz. Now I want to let you know that, just a quick sidebar, there's my quiz. You can add a bunch of quizzes to an assignment if you want. Today for this exercise, we're just going to add one, but you can have multiple quizzes in an assignment. So I'm going to select continue now. And here's where we get to the kind of the parameters, if you will. These are kind of the details of how you want to set up your quiz. So we're going to name the assignment. We're going to call this the axial skeleton quiz. And we're going to set a due date here. See, I can't spell today, huh? Skeleton. So that's good. There's spell check in these for you. That's a good tip. All right, so let's pick our due date. So it defaults to today. Let's say we're going to make this due on April 30th. Okay, and this gives you an option to delay the release. So say you're creating a bunch of quizzes and you don't want to release them to the student all at once. You can delay it. If you select yes, you can delay it. You don't want them to have it maybe until Monday. You can do that. That's fine. And then this next assignment folder one says select an assignment, select a folder or create a new one. So these are all the folders in my course that you were looking at. And we had decided that we were going to put this quiz in the skeletal system overview one. We can also make a new folder. You can just have it floating outside a folder, whatever you want to do, but we'll put it in the skeletal system overview folder for now. Okay, and this is now, we're going to move on to this quiz style. What do we mean by that? We want to know, how you want it to look and how you want it to be graded in this next section about style and feedback. So let's say you want to give this a point value of 10 points. And how do you want to display the grade? Do you want it to be in percentage or points? So let's pick percentage. This next part is where you pick how many attempts. You can do unlimited if you like by just checking that box, or you can pick 1 to 10 here. So let's say we're going to give the student 3 attempts on the quiz, and then you'll see this quiz score to keep. What this means is you're going to see all their attempts in the gradebook, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, but this is kind of the main grade that's reporting. Which attempt do you want? And I'll say, I want to give them the best attempt. I want that quiz score to be displayed in the gradebook as the grade. And then again, I'm going to show you how you can see multiple attempts. And this is, excuse me, this is where you set the time limit. So leave it off if you want, or when you hit yes, you can select the time. I do want to tell you there's a feature in our roster, and I'll show you that in a minute, where if you have, there are certain students that need accommodations, you can set in the roster accommodations for them. So even if you make this assignment for quote unquote everybody, if you're giving everybody 10 minutes for this quiz, you're going to make accommodations on a per student basis to either say it should be untimed, it should be time and a half, or twice the amount, or whatever it is. So I want to let you know we do have that exception built in. Okay, and now this is where we talk about feedback and about when you want the students to see feedback and the correct answers. So feedback during the quiz. You saw that first dissection example that I gave you. The student only saw feedback at the end. And then in the multiple choice example I showed you, you saw how you can get the feedback after each question and at the end of the quiz. So this is where you can pick what you want. Okay, and then the feedback after the quiz, we had a lot of feedback, and this is an example of we take feedback really seriously, and we do updates and enhancements, very frequently throughout the course of a calendar year. We got feedback from people that instructors were saying, I don't want the students to see correct answers after every quiz attempt. So in this quiz, say you give them 3 attempts, maybe you only want them to see the correct answers on the last quiz attempt, and you can make that choice here. And then the other choices don't show correct answers at all. So that's something that we added in the last few months, just to, to help folks out, because really that is what we're all about, for real. And then this is where you put the description. And then you can save a draft. If you're not ready, you want to think about some things some more, you can save a draft, or you can publish it. And when you publish it, you have the choice if you want to email the student it's ready to go or not. Okay, so I'll save a draft just for fun. You can see that it made it in here. When I hit back and I go to that skeletal system overview chapter we were looking at, the module, you'll see here's my quiz. It's in draft form. You can drag it. You can come back to it. You can select edit. And you can come back here and make any changes you want, and you can publish it. So that's kind of the super basics 101 of how you find a quiz you like and then assign it. Are there any questions before I move on? Everybody good with moving forward on that?
Let's just give it 1 second in case people are typing in
Yeah.
questions. Okay, we don't have any questions yet, Lori.
Good. And if you have them, that's fine. No worries at all. All right, so what I'm going to do now is let's switch things around a little bit. Let's move to the digestive system, and I just want to show you a couple features using just kind of a different content area. So what we're going to do now is edit a pre-made quiz. We're going to delete questions and add new questions. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to use the dissection quizzes as an example in this one. And let's filter digestive system. And let's say you're kind of looking at oral cavity, structures of the oral cavity. You can have the subtopics here. You can see there's only 5 results, so you can see our oral cavity quiz already. But you can filter further. So here I see the oral cavity dissection quiz. And I look at this and I can see the questions. And I'm like, I like that. I might not want to worry about the incisor right now, and I might want to add some questions. Okay, and you're kind of thinking about it, trying to figure out what you want to do. So what we say here by clone is that you're going to make a copy for yourself. Okay, and you might be thinking, maybe I'm going to do oral cavity and esophagus together. So let me sort of make my own version of this quiz. So I'm going to clone it. I pressed clone, and now I'm going to say, I'm going to make this maybe an oral cavity, esophagus, stomach quiz. Maybe I'm going to combine a few things. I don't know. So I'm going to save it. And now here it is right at the top of the list, and you're going to select edit. So here I am in the quiz, and you can see that we keep all the tags. The tagging here of the topic and subtopic and Bloom's level and keywords, this is all to help you find it again later. And you saw that I was, choosing those filters as we were looking. This categorization step is just to help you find your content easier. So now I'm going to see all the questions. So here are the 10 questions in the quiz, and I'm looking at them, and I don't really want to, let's see, let's get rid of the incisor question. All you do is select this trash can. And we say, are you really sure? And you say, okay. And then maybe, maybe you're not ready for, well, let's see, maybe the gingiva. You're like, that's just too easy. I'm going to get rid of that. So here I am with 8 questions. And let's say you want to add some more. So when you add more questions, what we do is that we give you, these filters again. So you're like, great, I want to look at visible body questions. Okay. And so what we're going to do is let's pick, I want to show you something too, because this comes up a lot. So say we pick digestive system and say we pick oral cavity. It's going to show you the 2 questions that you took out, because those are now options to go back into the quiz. If you didn't take out any questions and you looked at oral cavity, you wouldn't see anything here. And what that does is make you feel comfortable that you're not going to have any duplicates in there. We won't show you the questions that are already in the quiz. So I wanted to make that clear because that's come up from people before. And let's also say you want to see what we have on esophagus and stomach, because maybe you want to add those in. So now you see all these questions in here and you're like, oh, those are good. Okay, let's do this and let's do this. And you know what? I changed my mind. Let's give them an easy question. You can put that back in. And then you have save it next. And now you're brought back here. And now you can see that all your questions that you just added made it in here. You can see them right here at the top. So I wanted to tell you a couple of things about this configure your quiz step. One is that we default to randomize the question order. You can also pool the questions, and we'll tell you, okay, so you have 11 in here. Do you want each of your students to have a random assortment of 5? You can set it up like that. You can also deliberately order your questions. So you can just do a drag and drop here. Okay, and that you can make them in a deliberate order if you want. So let's, for fun, make this a pool just so you can see what that will look like once you're done. Okay, so here's my question, and that's great. So let's save the quiz. And we're like, okay, you can go ahead and assign it. You can make another quiz, or you can just be done. So the assign quiz takes you to choose the course. So we were in this A&P Lab Assessments demo. So you can pick the course, and then you can say, yep, this was this quiz I just made, because it's right at the top. And see this P, that tells you it's a pool. And you can see the details on the right, that's where it is. Okay, and then you can go ahead and do all this stuff that we just went through. So that's a thing that you can do. If you were to hit done, you'd just come right back to the quiz bank. Okay, and you could still see that yours is on top. And you can also filter and say, like, I just want to see my quizzes. They're all right here. Okay, so there's lots of ways to kind of winnow down what you're looking at. So I think the other thing I can show you, what we can do is take a look at that, that respiratory quiz, but you want to add some things to it. I made it already, so I can edit it and it'll kind of overwrite my old one, or I can clone it and make a new one. So what I mean by that is, if you liked that short 7 question one and you want to use that sometime, but you want to make another version of it for another time, that's what we're going to do now. So we're like, I like those 7 questions. I want to see what else is there for lower respiratory, because maybe I want to make it longer. So I'm just, for fun, going to call this longer. So I'm going to save that. And now here it is, and we're going to edit it. And this is going to let you go search for other lower respiratory system dissection questions that we have, so you can add them. So I'm going to add more questions, okay? And I pick visible body, and I pick respiratory, and I pick lower respiratory. And these are the other 3 questions that we have that you might want to add. So I can just select them all if I want. That's great. I like all those questions. Save and next, and here you go. They're all right here. So it's all kind of the same steps, okay? So all those examples that I showed had to do with questions that already exist, okay? So the next thing I want to move on to is sort of, what's the best way to see what visible body has in the quiz bank and what to do about how you want to add your own questions to round things out. So that's kind of the next place we're going to go, is how do I assess what does visible body have and how do I want to add questions to kind of round out my whole quiz. So does anybody have any questions before I move on to that?
If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or the Q&A, or you can raise your hand.
All right, so why don't and you can ask the questions, type them in as I'm going, and then I'll pause again. So no worries there. All right, so now what we're going to do is, let's say we're going to switch up the topics again. So let's talk about, we're in the circulatory system unit, and we're going to look at some heart quizzes. We want to make a heart quiz. So you're here in the question bank. All of our questions are here. You can see that visible body has 2,253 questions right now in our question bank. So we've taken every quiz question that are in all those quizzes you saw, and they're kind of like unbundled, if you will, here in the question bank. So this to me is the easiest way to say, all right, let's see what's there. And then we're going to make some questions because we want to add. add to the question bank. So we're going to start with dissection questions, and let's find everything visible body has on the heart. Okay, so I'm going to select circulatory, and I'm going to select heart. And there's 10 nice questions here, and here they all are. And you can see here, we'll tell you what quizzes. So we have a ton of quizzes, and we've been doing lots of demos and things for a long time. So this question appears in a whole ton of quizzes you can see. But we'll keep track of it for you, so you'll know which quizzes that you've made, include this question. So you're looking here, and you can kind of see the model that we use for this dissection quiz. And you might say, I want to make a new question because I want them to know what the aortic arch is. So I'm going to show you how super easy it is to make a new question using our 3D models. So we're going to come over here and create a new question. And we're going to choose, I'm going to show you all these, but let's start with dissection. So this is how you make your own question, okay? So we want to select the aortic arch. I know that that's the prompt I want to use. I'm going to put it here in my step 1. Step 2, choose a 3D view. So what we've done is pre-select a bunch of possible views for you to use, and there's some filters here. So I'm going to check circulatory system, and I'm even just going to put heart in my search window so it can really filter down. And you can kind of hover over these little thumbnails to see bigger what the models include and which one you want to pick. And I kind of like this one called heart. So I'm going to select that and hit continue. Now what we've done in step 3 is ask you to select what answers you want to be correct. And you have these little folders you can look at. You can also use the search here, and I'm going to search aortic arch. And then here it is. I have confirmation that this structure exists in the model. So I'm going to just click it. And this right-hand box is like, this is everything that I want to be considered the correct answer, okay? And then, we're gonna make a different question in a minute so you can see, other ways it works, but it's pretty good. So circulatory system, pretty easy, I think. Like just find what you wanna be correct answers, check the box, and we'll confirm for you. That's what it is, okay? So I'm just gonna pick a Bloom's level, and I'm gonna put aortic arch as my keyword. You can put anything in here. If you're making a quiz for a lab, lab section 203, you can write that as your keyword, so you can find all your lab section 203 quiz questions. You can use keywords as much as you want to kind of tag so you can find things easier, okay? So I filled out all my criteria. You can save and preview the question. We just show you in 2D. Or you can just save the question. And we're like, great, we've saved your question. And what do you want to do now? So we try to like connect the paths for you so that we give you some choices of what you now. Some like second level questions. What you can do is think about that. So I'm going to hit done just to show you why I've come to this conclusion. Okay, so where I was here and I was looking at all of the heart questions, right? And I was looking at the 10 that were there. Now you can see, if I pick my name, you're going to see all the questions that I have made. And you can see my new one I just made here. But if I just look at visible body, I see that there's a question. Let's take this for an example. I see that there's a question, select any part of the tricuspid valve. And like, that's great that you want the student to be able to find it. But what if you want to make a second level question that includes a 3D model of the heart, but you want the prompt to be different, but the answer can still be any part of the tricuspid valve? So we're going to create a new question, and I'm going to show you how that could work. So for example, let's say, student, I want you to, all right, let's see how I do typing. Select any part of the valve that controls blood, see, I didn't type right, blood flow from the right atrium into the right ventricle. Okay, so that's my second level prompt. And I know that any part of the tricuspid valve is the answer. So we can filter heart, and we see all these nice views. And maybe you want to use this one, heart valves. So let's hit continue. And then you can see, all the structures that are in here. You can look this way, or you can also put tricuspid here in the search box. Okay, and you see all the mitral and all the tricuspid, and you see these are all the different selectable structures that could be considered right answers, I suppose, because your prompt is select any part of the valve that does this. So all you do is select this box, and we'll bring all these over for you. So this is sort of like the parent structure, and these are all, we call them parents and children. So all the structures that are the tricuspid valve come over as right answers. Okay, and then you can go ahead and tag them here. And you might want to upgrade your Bloom's level, and you might want to put tricuspid, or again, whatever you want here. Okay, so that's how making your own dissection question works. And now I'll show you really simply how to make a new multiple choice question, because that's really easy too. And multiple choice and short answer are kind of the same, so I'll show you multiple choice. So multiple choice is enter a prompt. So we're still in the heart. Let's see. We'll do an example question I came up with was, how many layers are there in the heart wall? Now, if you have an image that you want to use, again, this is multiple choice, so it's not using a 3D model. You can put an image here if you want. If you click here to browse an image, it'll just go to, your desktop, and you can find images if you have them. You're more than welcome to put them in here. And then you enter the correct answer. Okay, well, I know there are 3. And then let's enter the distractors. So I'll put in 1, 2, and 6. And then you can put in a 4th if you like. Some people like the 4, the 4 distractors, and some don't. And then again, we'll ask you to tag. Okay, and whatever else you want to do. Okay, and then we save a question. So that's how you make your own multiple choice question really easy. So let's say that question about how many layers are there in the heart wall, let's say you've looked at all the heart multiple choice questions and you're good, you just wanted to add the one. So what you can do is say, that was the one I wanted to create, and now I'm ready to add the question to a quiz. So I'm going to show you how you make your own quiz now. So here's my question, how many layers are there in the heart wall? Okay, and then what you do is say, all right, I want to look at all those other heart, and we know you're in multiple choice land. So what we do is serve up for you just the multiple choice. I do want to make a comment here that right now in Courseware, you can only make quizzes that are 1 question type per quiz. We have gotten a lot of requests for being able to mix question types, meaning you would want to have dissection quizzes using the 3D models in the same quiz as a multiple choice question, and that is definitely on our development list for sure. But for right now, you can only make a quiz 1 question type at a time. So you can make an assignment with more than 1 quiz like we talked about before. So you could have, make a dissection quiz and make a multiple choice quiz that you love, and then make a new assignment with both those quizzes. So here's what where we are. We see that there are all these different, and I'm going to put my name too because I like my question that I just made. How many layers are there in the heart wall? So you'll see there are 75 questions in our quiz bank between ones that I made. I can tell, how can I tell which ones are mine? The ones that have edit on them are mine. You can see we've made a lot of kind of funny questions over the year or two populating things. So that's the easy way to tell. You can also, just deselect yourself if you just want to see this. You just want to pick, these 3. You can do that. And then you're just guided to this, this here, which you've seen before. You can fill that in. The other thing you could do, if you kind of like them all, you can select them all. If you like them all except for one, you don't like that one, that's a silly one. You can deselect that, and then you still have them all, and then you can come here and you can see, how many are here. There's so many, and that you can pull the questions if you want, and anything that you want. So there's a lot of flexibility there. So that's kind of how you make a quiz from scratch. So we've kind of gone through how to assign an off-the-shelf quiz and what all those assignment parameters are. We've gone through finding a visible body quiz and adding new questions and deleting questions. And then we've gone through how you make your own questions. And then you can either edit a quiz and add your own questions in ours, or you can build a quiz from scratch. We've kind of gone through all those scenarios. So I think if nobody has any questions, I have kind of two things left to show you. One of them is I wanted to show you the path of a short answer quiz, what that's all about. And then I want to show you the gradebook. So before I do that, are there any questions? And I want to tell you too that we have a support site with a lot of little articles that go over how to do all the things I've showed you, and also that we're recording this webinar so you can watch this again, but we have a lot of little short articles too. All right. So I think what we're going to do is let's go to our course we were in where we assigned that short answer, that hemoglobin quiz. Okay, we were in this course here, and we were in respiratory, and you remember that we had our hemoglobin short answer quiz. So what you're going to do is see in your gradebook, you're going to see all your students here. So I just have one student. And you can see actually all the things, all the grades for all my quizzes. But let's talk about the short answer first, and then I'll show you all the different things. So ready for grading. So my student took—
Sorry, Lori, someone's asking if we could share the recording. So I just wanted to make a note. I usually tell everybody that at the beginning. Yes, we will definitely record. We are recording this, and we will definitely share it. Mm-hmm. Hang on. Someone's also raising their hand. I have to figure out. Okay, Paul, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk because you're raising your hand.
Okay, my typing skills aren't the most stupendous in the world. Okay, a question. Are the questions in the question bank, are they ranked or filtered in any way, like from the easiest to the more challenging?
So we have ranked them from Bloom's level. So we have mostly 1, 2, and 3 in there. So you can filter. You're right, I haven't actually used the filters for Bloom's level, but you can see, you could pick number 2, and you could see we have 20 results of any dissection questions that are Bloom's level 2. If you want to look at all of our ones, these are the— dissection is kind of a tough one. We kind of consider those to be a little higher level, but say for multiple choice, you could see we have about 1,000, almost 1,100, and you can filter by topic here too to say if you're in skeletal system, how many Bloom's 1 questions do you have? 140, and you can filter them down. If you're on axial skeleton, you could be like, oh, there's 43 beginner ones. And then how many Bloom's 2 are there? 17. And then we don't have a whole lot of 3. But you can tag these when you make them all the way through to 6. Okay.
So you could, did you say you could import your own images into questions?
You can. So for multiple choice and dissection questions, you can add your own image. So if you were making that multiple choice question, you can include an image. This just takes you to your desktop, and you can go to whatever folder, wherever you might have an image, and you can add it.
Okay.
Yep.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right, so let's go real fast to show you this short answer path. So I was here, and I was— oh, whoops, I'm in my wrong course, sorry. For this one, I want to show you that ready for grading prompt. So this hemoglobin, okay, Lori's student took it. It's ready for grading. You could see Lori's student submitted it at this time, and this is how long it took her. So it's ready for grading. So I'm going to click on that. And this is what you see. So you get the option to give a response if you want to, and you certainly don't have to. So you you know, you ask this question, this is my best answer, the student says, and you can say, yes, it certainly is a great answer. And you can decide to give that student credit. We default all the questions. Okay, and this is, there you go, there's the typo, we're gonna fix that. Describe the conditions that change hemoglobin's binding efficiency. This is my worst answer, and I'm gonna say, yes, it is not very great. And you're gonna say, you're gonna give them half credit on that. So what you can do, you have some options here. You can save a draft. You might give a short answer quiz that's like 10 questions. You might be in the middle of grading Lori's students' quiz and you might have to go do something. You can save a draft and come back and pick up where you left off. If you're done, you can say, okay, you can submit the grade and you can send the student an email too. They'll see it when they log in to Courseware the next time. They'll see a little red alert here, Gradebook, that it's been graded, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. If you don't, you can email them if you want, is another thing. So we'll submit the grade and we'll say, you sure? And you're like, yeah, I'm all set with her. So now let me show you what the student sees. So let's go back to Lori's student's account. Okay, so here's Lori's student. And I'm back to my courses and we were here. So here are all my assignments that I did, and I go to my Gradebook and I'm gonna see the hemoglobin short answer. I'm gonna see that it's here. And I'm gonna click on that and I'm gonna see your feedback. Okay, so that's kind of the path of the short answer.
Hey, Lori, we have a question coming in.
Sure.
Does the gradebook self-populate as kids access the site, or do I have to type all the names in myself? Not a stupid question at all.
It's a wonderful question.
Definitely. It's a great
No, not at all. Every time you, so what you do, right, when you want your student to join, I'm going to show you a course that has more students in it, just to show you. It's a wonderful question. So you're here in your course and you invite your students. What you do is you come over here, you get an alert too when people join. So this invite people link is what you're sending, right, to get students to join. Every time somebody joins, you get an alert here, so you know, here's your roster. Look at all your students that you have. Okay, so it populates here, and it files alphabetically by last name. And it gives their email address. And then this is where that timed quiz accommodation is that I was telling you about. So you can make that here. You can drop the students or transfer them to another section. And you can search by name. So say you have many students in here and you'll be scrolling down, down, down. You can search by name to find them. Okay. And in the Gradebook, same thing. All those students you saw on the roster, here they are in the Gradebook. And here's their email address. And here's their total course grade. And you can see all the assignments that you've given and the status. So you're going to see here incomplete. That means it's past due. They didn't do it in time. Here you're going to see the different things, the scores and how long it took them. So a lot of people ask, like, how can I tell if my student, you know, is cheating, or like, you know, what sort of metrics do you have that show me how I could try to figure that out? What we do is tell you when they submitted and how long they took. And when you click on this, you're going to see all their answers. Now you can see Lori's student got 100% on this types of bones, and you're going to come over here to check some other things out. You can view other quiz attempts. So you can see, well, the first time she did it, she got a 60%, and you can click on that score to see which ones she got wrong. And she can see this too in her Gradebook, but also you can see how long she took. So if you saw she got a 60%, she took 28 seconds, she got 100% her next attempt. What if this said 5 minutes and 43 seconds? Then maybe you could draw some conclusions, maybe. But that's kind of one way that we try to help you monitor that. Real quick, the other things you can do here, besides view other quiz attempts, is you can manually change a grade. So this is where you would come if Lori's student is like, you know, I had a really tough time and, you know, my computer died and all this stuff. You can manually change a grade here.
Lori, there's another question coming in.
Sure. Yep.
These tests or quizzes aren't using a lockdown browser, right?
Correct. Correct. But we have been hearing that. We've put that on our list to investigate because it has been coming up. Again, like we get feedback all the time and we listen and we have lists and things. So that has come up a bit in the last few weeks. So we've noted it and we're going to look into it. But right now, no. And then the last thing is on a per student basis. I wanted to show you that you can add attempts. So if you gave everybody 3 attempts on a quiz and this one student is like, please, can I have another try? You can do that here. And you can also extend a deadline per student here. And you can notify them via email also to let them know you did it. All right, well, I think I've covered everything on my list. Or maybe the last thing to show you is this export CSV. If you are using Canvas or Blackboard or any of these, you can actually export a CSV of your students' grades and then you can upload them into that gradebook. I want to tell you about that.
Hey, Lori, someone's asking if you can import the grades into Google Classroom. Would that just be that last drop down, the standard CSV?
If there's a student identifier or something like that for Google Classroom, you could add that and then import it. But yeah, you'd use just a standard CSV for that.
What about Schoolology? I think that would also just be the standard CSV.
It would. Yeah, we've done the ones that we've heard from folks are the most popular, and we know that there are others. So we did this sort of one that's just, you know, very basic that you can add columns that you need to for your own system that you're using.
Mm-hmm. Lori, could you show, and this is not a question that came up, but I know this is something that has come up on trainings that I've done. Mm-hmm. Can you show how you would make accommodations for an individual student? I know you talked about that, but did you show that before?
Oh, I did. Yeah. So that was in the roster.
Okay.
So you might have some timed quizzes, and Lori's student, that's me. You might say it defaults to no timed quizzes, but you might say here that you want to give her time and a half, or you might want to give her twice, or you might want to do untimed. You can do that and save it. And then if you had anything other, you just select other, and then this field opens up and you can put in what you want. If there was something besides 1.5 and twice, if you wanted to do, 2.5 times or 3 times the time, you can do it like that. Yep, but that's how you do it. And then you just hit save. Perfect. So that means this Lori student was only ever going to get untimed, and the rest of the students will get timed if that's what you chose.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Well, definitely please feel free to send questions that you think of to Kara after. And again, we will send you a recording of this, and that we have a lot of support articles on our support site that have little how-tos. And let's see if I can show you that real fast. If you go to support.visiblebody.com, you come down here, and here's Visible Body Courseware. And you just select that, and you can see some sort of general requirements. And then these are all the how-to stories for you. So for example, what's in the quiz bank? We have a list of everything that we have, and we are going to be adding more over the course of the year, be adding more and more quizzes. So we'll be sending emails and things out when we do that.
Lori, I have a couple questions. Is there someone that I can contact directly to speak with as I make the 40-question muscle dissection quiz I will be doing?
Yeah, we definitely have support. We have a specific trainer who can work with you to make
I'm making a note of your name, Susan.
Yeah, we definitely can set up a session. Our trainer's name is Laura Sandhusen, and she can help you with any questions that you have. And also, Laura helps people make courses that correlate to the books they're using. So we have a ton. I mentioned that that website, and when you're in here, if you go to this pre-made courses, there are a ton of pre-made courses already, but we can help you make other ones. So there's a lot of different courses here. We kind of describe what they are, but we have a section of textbook correlations already that are here, and we add to that a lot. But if you have any special requests like that you're using, a book that you're using, Laura can help you set up a course too. So you can see these are the ones that we have available, but we can help you.
I'll have her reach out to you, Susan, because I should have your email address on here. So I will have Laura contact you.
Yep, and you can see her name right here. That's who we
Yep,
contact.
there it is.
All right.
All
I guess that's
right.
a wrap, Tara.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. If you have questions later, don't hesitate to reach out, and you can just go ahead and send your questions to me. I was in the email invite probably that you received, so you can send them to me, and I'll do my best to answer or to pass it on to someone who can. Okay.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.